The Minnesota Vikings need to respond this weekend because it's a big test. Not necessarily against a great opponent, but because the opponent is who they are, I feel like I said that really weird. They need to respond. And that's a big test following a 2-game losing streak against the Detroit Lions and Los Angeles Rams, and their one lucky Hail Mary from the Jaden McDaniels. No, I'm talking about the Minnesota Vikings small forward. Jaden Daniels, Washington Commanders, from being last place in the NFC North, just 7 days after they were in first place. So this is a big game for the Minnesota Vikings this upcoming weekend, and I'm going to tell you about it. But first, let me tell you about Hoagland Farm. Hoagland Farm has the best rotationally grazed 100% grass-fed beef. This beef is sold in quarters and halves, and they have custom sample packs so you can try before you buy. Contact Hoagland Farm today and get the best sirloin steaks, juicy, crispy, yummy, amazing. Ground beef, chuck roast. My wife and I got it for $4.15 a pound. You won't find prices near that anywhere else, like Walmart, Aldi, Costco. You go to the grocery store, and prices like this are way more expensive for the same exact product. Actually, not even the same, but better product. This is better product. This is grass-fed 100%. And you don't have to worry about the antibiotics or whatever kind of garbage they put in their beef at these grocery stores. Contact Hoagland Farm today, 952-491-1541, and get 20% off your first order by mentioning the Minnesota Tim Podcast. 952-491-1541. So the Minnesota Vikings face off against the Indianapolis Colts Sunday night, prime time. Got flexed. Supposed to be a noon start, which I prefer anyways. I don't know what it is about Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night. People get so excited for these nationally televised games, and it's like, who cares? Oh, we can show off our team on national TV. I don't really give a rip about that. I'd rather play a noon game, have a great schedule for the day, watch a little football at 12, get done at 3, record a podcast at 3:30, go about the rest of my day without having to worry about or think about the Minnesota Vikings. So, anyways, I'm kind of bummed that it got shifted. I'd rather prefer a 12 o'clock start. But regardless, they play Sunday Night Football. It exchanged the Eagles-Jacksonville Jaguars game. And here's some statistics posted by the Purple Persuasion account. So the Colts are 4-4, and their starter is second-year quarterback Anthony Richardson. He went down with a shoulder injury, was it last year? And when he was being hyped up before the NFL draft, and the Minnesota Vikings were reportedly very interested in Anthony Richardson, I was very cold against that idea because of his completion percentage in college. It was right around 50-something percent. And my reaction was, if he has a 50% completion percentage at college, how is he supposed to be any different in professional football? How is that supposed to get better? How is his accuracy supposed to improve when everything speeds up, everything's faster, everything's tougher? I just didn't buy into the idea that he could translate that into the NFL level. But everybody loved his athleticism, his body, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But I just didn't like that he couldn't throw the football. Now, to be fair, I had doubts about J.J. McCarthy as well. And if he becomes a superstar player, well, I was wrong on that one. But here's statistics posted by the Purple Persuasion Twitter account. Take a look at this. Anthony Richardson's 2024 stats, 6 game played so far this season. 44.4 completion percentage, 7.2 yards per attempt, 159 passing yards per game, 4 passing touchdowns, 7 picks, a 57.2 QBR, 40 rushing yards per game, 1 rushing touchdown, 5 fumbles, a 48.7 overall Pro Football Focus grade, and a passing grade of 49.5 Pro Football Focus grade. Anthony Richardson stinks. He can't throw the football. And the athletic ability is obviously there. He can run the football, but this guy can't throw. He has no accuracy whatsoever, which is really important for the Minnesota Vikings because they just played Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, two of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. And they just torched the Minnesota Vikings 2 games in a row. So to have a game where Anthony Richardson is the alleged starter, Joe Flacco's waiting in the wings. He certainly looks better than Anthony Richardson, and I don't think anybody would be surprised if Joe Flacco did start. This guy is the ageless wonder. Takes the Browns to the playoffs, goes with the Colts. Anthony Richardson goes down. The Colts offense suddenly looks better. Anthony Richardson, there's a lot of criticism heading his way right now because he sat out a play after the Houston Texans because he was, quote unquote, tired, I think was the analysis that was shared by the Colts organization and by Anthony Richardson himself and just by everybody everywhere. So this is a big game for the Minnesota Vikings because of what I said. They're 5-2, and this is becoming a must-win situation for the Vikings with everybody in the NFC North right in front of them. Packers, Lions, and the Chicago Bears right on the Minnesota Vikings' heels. So you need to respond. And after the Minnesota Vikings have gotten torched twice in a row, whether you're playing Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco, it shouldn't matter. Joe Flacco is not in the same class as Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, not even close. So the Vikings defense needs to feast. They need a feast. They need a beast up the Indianapolis Colts with or without Blake Cashman. They need to respond because the defense that was getting all the nicknames after their incredible performances in the first 5 weeks of the season has gotten exposed against the Detroit Lions and Los Angeles Rams after Ben Johnson and Sean McVay just tore them to pieces. And the age in the secondary has shown. The lack of pass rushing has shown. Everything has started to show for the Minnesota Vikings. And you couldn't ask for a better matchup than matching up against the Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson's Indianapolis Colts. They're 4-4 somehow. I don't know how they're 4-4. I should look it up. How are the Indianapolis Colts a 500 football team when the quarterback play has been so inconsistent this season? Maybe there's a story to be told for the Colts this season. We'll run through this together. Okay, share the screen. Lost to the Texans by 2. Lost to Green Bay by 6. Beat Chicago. Beat Pittsburgh. That's a good win. I guess it was Justin Fields, not Russell Wilson. Lost to the Jags 37-34. Beat the Titans. Beat the Dolphins. Lost to Houston. So, okay, that's why they're 4-4. They beat the Bears, who stunk early on in the year. They beat Pittsburgh with Justin Fields, who aren't as good as they are with Russell Wilson. And they beat the lousy Tennessee Titans and the Miami Dolphins without Tua Tagovailoa. So the Indianapolis Colts have 0 impressive victories on their resume. However, what they do have is their losses are all within a few points. They lost to the Texans twice by a combined 5 points. They lost to Green Bay without Jordan Love by 6 points. They lost to the Jags by 3 points. So regardless of the opponent that the Indianapolis Colts play, they play them close. That's what they've shown so far this season. So you could expect a close game for the Minnesota Vikings this upcoming Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts, because they either play up to their opponent or down to their opponent. And their wins this year haven't been very impressive. They've been lousy at best. But Joe Flacco, if he starts, he has shown that he can give the Indianapolis Colts offense a boost that Anthony Richardson hasn't given them this year. So we'll see what the decision is for Shane Steichen, the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, but it'll be something to watch. But regardless, the Vikings defense needs to answer this test and respond to the adversity they've faced in the prior 2 weeks.